Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here and welcome to B-Ball Breakdown. Well, the streak is over, and I'm sure it's a relief to the Heat. It was a lot of pressure on them, and you don't really get a championship for winning 33 games in a row or breaking that record. So I'm sure they got it out of the way, and they're going to get back to normal. Before we get into the game footage and what the Bulls were able to do, I want to show you some of the context of what the stats were during the streak compared to their overall stats to see what was going so well for them and why they were winning. While there were improvements on both ends of the floor, the Heat improved more significantly on the offensive end, with Shane Battier having the most dramatic improvement to his offensive rating. As the ball moved more freely around the perimeter, Battier and Ray Allen were the biggest beneficiaries with open looks from outside. On the defensive side, Chris Bosh improved the most with his active defense, while curiously, Battier's defensive rating actually went down during the streak, and not by a small number either. The most potent five-man lineup the Heat used during the streak was Ray Allen, Chris Bosh, Mario Chalmers, LeBron James, and Dwayne Wade. The least effective five-man lineup was Ray Allen, Chris Anderson, Shane Battier, Mario Chalmers, and LeBron James. Clearly, having only one of the big three on the court doesn't benefit the Heat. So let's move on to the game. The Bulls were missing Noah and Bellinelli, so you'd think that they would have a hard time scoring and not do so well defensively around the rim, but Deng was on fire a little bit and they were hitting some really tough shots, which is definitely part of the recipe for beating the Heat. However, the Bulls also laid out a little bit of a groundwork to how to contend with them as well, and that was being overtly physical with LeBron James to try and take him out of his game. He certainly lost his cool at the end there. The question now is, was it the culmination of a 27-game winning streak and the pressure and all that? Or is this something viable that teams can use, like the Pacers, to get him off his game and get him unfocused? Well, let's get into the game and I'll show you what were the key moments that really affected how the game ended up. To score against the incredible pursuit of the Heat defense, you need good movement with a purpose. Here's a favorite set of mine where Hinrich gets a pin down, then a handoff, while Deng gets a pin down on the right side. Deng gets away with the travel, and Jimmy Butler hits the three. The Heat run flex, but with Haslem out there, the Bulls could completely leave him alone, allowing Naji to step in and steal LeBron's backdoor pass. The Heat knew they were in for it when Kirk scores on LeBron in the open court. Taking a page out of Jerry Sloan's Jazz offense, Hinrich does a UCLA cut, turns around and sets a back screen for Boozer. Thinking Boozer was going to screen the ball, Bosh gets on the high side, which lets Boozer slip right to the hoop for a layup. The Bulls ran a lot of good things from out of bounds. Even though Butler doesn't score in the lob, Bosh had to come help, opening up a sliver of daylight for Boozer to throw the ball in the hoop. Again, out of a baseline out of bounds, LeBron anticipates the pin down for Deng, so Deng simply cuts through the middle and gets an open shot. The Bulls run flex with a Deng screen for Boozer, then a Nazi screen for Deng. Incredible defense by the Heat to take away all the options, great rotation and deflection. It takes this kind of ridiculous effort just to get 2 points. The Heat run horns, and this time Nazi is guarding Bosh, but curiously sags off to protect against the back cut. Battier should have faked the pass and hit Bosh for a foul line jumper. To give you an idea of how much attention LeBron gets from the defense, Taj Gibson is one of the Bulls' best defenders. He's alert and in position, then lets his man cut right by him for a layup because he was so concerned with LeBron's post-up. You've also got to wonder if it's your night when Nate Robinson hits a shot like this. Another example of Boozer's poor defense is how he goes for the shot fake by Chris Anderson 20 feet from the hoop. That forces Gibson to help. Cook has to leave Ray Allen in the corner to rotate, and that gives up the open corner three. After this great Norris Cole steal, Nate steals it back from Wade. Watch how Wade doesn't run back hard, and it directly leads to a Nate three-pointer. To make matters worse, Dwayne Wade comes back down and turns it over again. This is not the Heat's night. I guess it was in honor of Los Bulls night because Boozer does his best Matador impersonation. Sheesh. In his defense, Boozer battled all night long and scrapped for all his points. The Bulls' offense doesn't always set screens properly, and a number of them were ineffective until Kirk Hinrich finally lays some wood on LeBron. Deng reverted back to the mean with his ugly miss, and when Hinrich tries to attack, he can't get much against this defense either. If you miss that shot, it's a textbook fast break flying death machine. And for a big stretch in the third quarter, the Heat made the Bulls look like a small college team. Clinging to a 5-point lead, the Bulls try and attack with Deng in the post. However, it takes way too long to get into the set, and when the Heat front and overload the defense, Kirk has no choice but to try a difficult lob. Whoops. Next, they go to Boozer in the post, and in a recurring theme, he commits a needless offensive foul. And here's the play that turned the Bulls' fortunes around. First an air ball by LeBron, and then Luol Deng whacks him in the face pretty hard, but the refs don't see it and they're off on a fast break where Jimmy Butler throws down the alley-oop. Another out-of-bounds play for the Bulls that works to perfection when Taj Gibson fakes the handoff, opening a lane to drive. Another Boozer forearm shove, Battier has to help, and Boozer gets the layup. Against the Heat, you can't afford too many bad shots, and this rushed three-pointer by Deng falls in that category. Luckily, Gibson gets the rebound amidst 3 Heat defenders, and now they do the right thing, running some clock and patiently finding Jimmy Butler, who continues to impress. On this set, the Bulls run a little pick and roll on the left side, but watch how Wade needlessly helps down low, even though Bosh is right there to defend Taj Gibson. That daylight gives Deng an opportunity to catch and shoot. On the next possession, LeBron abuses Boozer and gets right into the lane, kicking it to Battier. The pass made him bend over, which decreases shooting percentage quite a bit. He can't convert, and Ray Allen does a very poor job stopping the ball as Kirk gets a nice fadeaway that basically ices this game. So there you have it, sports fans. The pressure is now off the Heat, and Spoelstra had better cut back the minutes of LeBron and Wade to about 32 minutes a game the rest of the year to save them for the playoffs. Wade almost tweaked his knee last night, and you don't want to have an injury in meaningless games when they've already been assured the #1 spot. I'm not so sure anyone's going to offer up much resistance, but it's certainly interesting to see how teams are going to play LeBron and how physical they're going to get with him to get him off his game, because pretty much that's the only way you're going to be able to get through a 7-game series and have any shot at beating them. Well, thanks for joining us, sports fans, and don't forget, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in?